This comes from a PR Newswire, something called INRIX, which does research on things, whatever. It did an interesting little survey about micromobility and how that affects the way people drive. And this topic has been in the back of my head for a few weeks now, and I'm going to use this to launch that. And here's my topic. I'm sick to fucking death of Tesla owners pissing on other EV car owners, telling them that their Leafs or their Souls or their Bolts suck because they don't have enough range. And why bother with anything that has less range than a Tesla? Now, before you get angry, the INRIX research says that shared bikes and scooters could replace nearly 50% of urban vehicle trips. We're talking about little e-bikes and little putt-putt scooters and stuff like that could replace cars for trips. So the whole like range anxiety thing that not all, but some, many, too many overzealous Tesla fans like to yell about because they have more range than everybody else. Yay, you. Nothing wrong with that. But you don't use it as a stick to beat up other people who've also made a good decision to buy an electric vehicle.
The vast majority of Tesla owners aren't the vocal ones that you see online that are making the statements that you're talking about. The vast majority of us support electrification of vehicles in all different forms. And if it's a vehicle that suits your needs, hallelujah, buy it, jump on it. I will pat you on the back. I'll ask you to show me your car, and I'll be glad to talk about it. And the vast majority of us are that way. Are we all proud of our vehicles? Sure. Were you proud of a Prius when you owned one? Absolutely. Was it the best car on the road? Fuck no. But you know what? It was yours, and you loved it for what it was for you. And I love my Teslas for what they are for me, but I don't denigrate people that choose something else. Now, you know, if you have needs for driving longer distances, if you routinely drive over 100 miles on your weekends to get to your lake house, you know what? Probably the Leaf ain't going to work for you. And the Tesla is a better vehicle for that. So it's just a bullshit overgeneralization, Russell. And most people don't think that way. Yes, you can get online and you can go find me a sample of somebody that said that. But that's an anecdote, and it isn't representative of the Tesla community at large.
And to get back to what the article is saying, if all of these people take the flipping scooters, think about how many less cars are on the road, how much less traffic you're going to be dealing with. I mean, and look at the buses in all these cities. They when they step on the accelerator, if it's not one of the natural gas, hydrogen, electric, whatever, there's a big puff of black smoke because they haven't done maintenance in 20 years on these vehicles. I mean, yes, it's better than 20 cars, but still, it's not that great. So if they're on a scooter or a bicycle or walking, come on, guys, it's awesome.
So I have to respond to Evan.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I just had to get that out there.
And while I agree, and again, I think I worded this very carefully. I didn't say all Tesla owners.
No, you didn't.
I don't think I said most. I think I said many. Yes. And I'm going to tell you, Evan, that you have not correctly appraised the level of the problem. I'm in, and maybe you are too. So we'll find out. But I'm in most electric vehicle clubs or groups on like Facebook, for instance. I'm following a whole bunch of people on Twitter that are this. And there's not a day that goes by in the Nissan Leaf owners group when a Tesla owner doesn't come in there and take a big shit in the middle of a thread.
That's called a troll, Russell. Let me educate you about the internet. And guess what? Trolls show up in all different kinds of forums to lay great big turds like that.
They showed up in our forum on our show.
If you go to the Tesla forums, generally, if somebody makes a comment like that, denigrating another vehicle, they're pretty often shouted down by the rest of us who say that's not true. And you'll see that same thing with the Taycan stuff that came out. You know, a lot of the initial stuff was, look at this, it's slower than, you know what? And then a lot of other people stepped in and look, this is a good thing for EVs. This is a good thing for everybody. And cooler heads prevail. And there are all kinds of examples of trollish bullshit like that. Absolutely. Pick your forum, pick your car. It shows up everywhere, but that is not representative of Tesla owners at large.
Look at how many times I've said the rising tide lifts all boats. That's not my phrase. It's true. This is what happens, and it's because that's how the majority are. Paul has muted himself but wants to talk.
Come on, Paul.
Oh,
I feel
Paul,
like
I'm just enjoying the.
just watching the show.
But I agree with Evan. I mean,
shut up, Paul.
All right, shut me down.
There are every form has their shitheads, and I think most Tesla people, they might think they're cooler because they have a Tesla, but they probably think any EV on the road is cooler than any gas car and support it, like Evan said. So
yeah, but I there's going to rant some more.
Well, but there's always going to be the 2 or 3% that are the most vocal, and that's what everybody hears. So
exactly, yeah,
and that's what you focus on, because and it's not fair.
You get people out there who think that everybody should be driving a brand new Tesla,
and sometimes it goes the other way. I mean, I some of you may know I sold Evan's old Model S in Colorado for him, and I sold it to a customer that previously had a Prius and went to a Leaf and then went to a Tesla. So it's a very great migration, and as their needs change and their money situation changed, they upgraded. So nothing wrong with that.
And a lot of American families have more than one car, like at least two. And so you have your car that you commute in, and then you have the car that you can do the road trips in, or that other random once-a-year trip that can haul from Home Depot and then go from Maine to California with the boat. So
and you can rent a car if you need it for a week.
That's the better option right there, is to rent a car. Yeah. Get something that solves your needs most of the time, and then rent something else otherwise.
But if you have to rent,
or the people that drive the F-250 to work because they've got to tow their boat to the lake twice a year.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah. But if you have to rent twice a month, then you probably chose the wrong vehicle, right? And for me, that would be my situation. So, but if that's not somebody else's situation, I'm not going to denigrate them for that choice. Mm-hmm. And I don't think anybody would. Or somebody would. All right, you're right. There's always going to be somebody, but it ain't going to be me.
I think we can argue the percentage of people that are involved in this kind of behavior that all of us don't like, okay? That we all reject. But I also want you to consider the impact that it has. That it has an outsized impact. And I get it. Trolls are everywhere, and trolls do horrible things. But I've never seen someone with a Leaf in a Tesla forum talking trash about idiots who paid too much for Elon's folly.
I've seen a few, but you're right.
Oh, come on.
It's a lot less frequent.
but you know why?
I've seen that too, Russell. It's not as much, but I've seen those comments.
But it's rare because when you do the math, what you get dollar for dollar isn't really comparable. If you can afford that extra $5-10 grand for a Tesla, you're getting a hell of a lot more car than you're getting out of the Leaf. And so that's why you don't really see that. It's hard to denigrate that because on a dollar for dollar. But at the same time, if somebody can only afford $15,000 used Leaf, that's what they can afford. Power to them. Take that. And if it meets their needs, that's fantastic.
That's like if you some of us here have children in college. You put them in that, they're not getting in any trouble because they can't get anywhere. Not saying that you can't travel, but again, as I said, it's a good second car.
I got nothing else.
Rather than the primary vehicle, and you rent it like those people who live in nice urban areas where they never have to go that far, and then that 1 or 2 trips a year, they rent something.
I've actually used that as a sales pitch selling used Leafs. I say to the parents, your teenager drives a Leaf, they can only go so far. They're not going to tell you they're going to their friend's house a mile away and go to Vail and party.